Hello and welcome to the Purpose Pursuit podcast with me, Hannah Miller. It is a joy to be back with you. Maybe this is your first time trying the podcast out, or maybe you are a long-time listener. You are very welcome here today. We are in the middle of a mini summer series. You might not even be listening to these in the summer, but I am definitely recording it in the summer. It is about 4,000 degrees in here today, and I would actually love to have a lot less clothes on and be sitting in a very cold plunge pool. But right now I'm here with you and I'm recording episode 3 of our mini-series. We decided we'd do some short episodes over the summer that you can dip into and use reflectively or to help you set your summer up well, and also with the autumn in mind, take that time to reflect. So our first episode was about resting and what does rest look like even if you can't go on holiday. Number 2 was about reading. It was my summer reads episode, so you can listen in to that if you want some book recommendations. And this is episode 3, and we've called this one Reflect. And we thought we would do like this little summer reflect episode, which, by the way, would be fine to listen to at any time. But it's something where I'm just going to guide you through some questions and some thoughts as a bit of reflective process while we are in this season. So often we are not pausing, and so often we're just moving on to the next big thing, and we don't take the time to take stock of where we are. And when I work with people on the Purpose Pursuit, which is my coaching program and also my book, we spend some time reflecting. I make people press pause and look at where things are now before we move on any further. And so what I'm going to do in this reflective exercise is to guide you through 8 reflections, and I'm using the framework of my book to do that. Okay, it's also the framework of my course. And let's think of it as a bit of a seasonal check-in. So it doesn't matter when you're doing it, it will have its relevance. I just happen to be doing it over the summer period. I'm imagining some of you maybe sitting on a bench or sitting on a summer lounger or even sitting by a pool with a journal and having a moment to think. You might be driving your car and just you can press pause if you're driving the car every so often and take a moment to think. You might want to grab a journal or tap some notes into your phone. It's completely up to you. Perhaps you'll go for a walk or have a quiet moment, but take this moment with yourself and see this as a bit of a guided reflection. I'm going to slow the pace down a little bit, and I'm just going to share with you 8 reflections for you to consider based on the framework of the Purpose Pursuit, the book and my course. So the first section is about the present moment, okay? It's where you are right now, your present moment. And this is from The Root, which is all about where we are right now. It's the first section of the course. And I'm going to give you some things to think about here. Where are you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and even geographically? Where are you? What words come to mind when you think about life right now? What season of life do you feel like you're in? Do you feel like you're in a season of growth, recovery, rebuild, waiting, dreaming? What does it feel like for you? If you were thinking of the season, what comes to mind? What rhythms in your life are helping you or harming you? Take a moment to think of like the everyday life right now, the ins and outs of the moment, the season, the time that you are in. The things that are working and the things that aren't. You might also want to name the 3 things that are most shaping your life right now. They might be visible things or invisible things. Think about where you are right now in order to think about where you want to be. We can't map out our future journey if we don't have a clue where we are right now. Okay. The next section is a bit more about your inner self, okay? And this is called the guide. Section 2 is called the guide. Who are you really, okay? And I love to help people uncover more about their true strengths and who they are. But in this section, we're going to take some time to think about our inner self, our real true self together. What has changed about how you see yourself since this time last year? What truths are you finally accepting? What masks are you gently ready to lay down? In what space, role, or relationship do you feel most like your real self? I think these are really good questions. And even as I'm reflecting on it myself, what has changed about how I see myself is perhaps that I can do things that I thought I couldn't do. I think that's maybe something that has changed about how I see myself. I wonder whether I'm learning to see my natural propensity to feel emotions as something that's better than I used to think it was. I used to think that my emotions were a negative thing about me. And I'm starting to see that better. And I'm accepting that that is a part of who I am. I think I'm also accepting that I have limits in a way that I didn't before, that limits aren't a bad thing. Limits help us make better choices if we want them to. So I think those are some of my reflections on that sort of who am I really and where am I right now. The next section of this inner self is called the mountain, and that's all about you at your best. You being brilliant. I love people to learn and understand more about what makes them uniquely brilliant. Some of the things they're most proud of, the everyday good stuff that they do, the big moments, those bigger achievements, those highlights, but also some of those everyday things that they enjoy. And taking stock of that is so important. So in this reflective section, think about what you've been doing lately that felt easy, or felt like ease, or felt like you in your flow, or even felt excellent. And when you were doing it, you thought, this feels like breathing. This feels like something that I'm meant to be doing. What were you doing in those moments? Think about moments where you felt that you were having a mountaintop moment and you were doing something of you at your absolute best. What were you doing? What are you celebrating? What are you proud of from this recent time? What comes to mind when you think about those mountaintop moments, as well as those in and out moments of flow? Where are you holding back your gifts because of fear or fatigue or perfectionism? Oh, that's a good one. I think it's fatigue for me at the moment, more than any of the others. But you might listen to this and you might feel that actually fear holds you back. You're worried about what people will think, what people will say, or if you fail. Or perfectionism, I can't do it well enough, so I'm not going to do it at all. One of the big lessons we can learn in life is that most people who go on and do things have let go of perfectionism. Those who've gone to do some more brave things because they realise if they wait to be ready, they'll never, ever get it done. Here's another thought about what you're brilliant at. If someone else was going to describe your superpower, what would they say? Is it your ability to see the detail or the big picture or see the future or to make people feel seen or known or heard? Is it your ability to tell a story or to make someone laugh or to organise something or bring order or your responsibility or your sense of justice? What is it that you think would come to mind if I asked the people who love and know you the best what your superpower was? Section 3. We're going to think about some tension points in this. Okay, these are some of the bits that are tricky in the midst of us at our best. We're also going to think about where do we feel that sense of tension or resistance. And the first section in this is called the valley. And in the book and in the course, we look at our weaknesses. We look at our blind spots. We look at the ways that we get in our own way. We look at the mindsets or the things that we've believed about ourselves that might be hindering our progress. And I want us to take some time here because actually knowing our shortcomings, knowing our weaknesses, knowing our dark side of our personality is so, so important, as well as everything I've just said. Here's some reflection questions for you. What's been humbling you lately? And where do you need more support, not just more effort? Where do you need to recognise that this falls in your limitations and you might need support from somewhere else? What has been frustrating you about how you get in your own way lately? What weakness are you just trying to fix instead of trying to find a new way to work with it? I think one of my things that gets in my way is just being so bothered about what people think. I am aware that drives so much of my mental energy in a way that I don't want it to. And I think I need to think about what is the workaround rather than the fix for that. I don't think it's going to go away, but I need to find ways to do that better. And as I'm reflecting, I'm thinking, how do I ensure that doesn't debilitate me or sabotage my progress? The next part of this section is called the waterfall, and this is about what makes you uniquely you, the story of your life, the unique personality that you have been given, the sort of the tapestry that makes up your story, your perspective, your family of origin, all that kind of stuff. What combination of experiences, perspectives and values make you unmistakable? What is it about the life you've led, the way you see the world, and the personality you have that makes you you? And what would be missing in a room if you didn't show up? What do people often thank you for that you might overlook or dismiss? Again, something that happens a lot in my work is that people will overlook things in who they are because they think it's just being a human. They think it's what everybody can do. But I want to encourage you as you're going through this reflective process to think about those things that make you uniquely you, that you might be underestimating or overlooking because you think everybody can do it. And they can't. So what is it that is in a room when you're in it? What is it that you might be dismissing or overlooking that other people look on and think, gosh, that is such gold in you? Can you stop and write some words down that describe what that looks like? And then our last section is the reset reimagining section. And we're going to look at the desert, the forest and the lighthouse in here, the final 3 sections of the process of the book and of the course. In the desert, we look at our self-sabotaging behaviours. So it's kind of a lean in a bit more to that idea we've just covered. What habits, what fears or distractions are quietly taking up too much space in your life? What do you say matters, but you aren't actually living out? Where are you numbing, delaying or doubting what actually matters? Is it a habit? Is it a fear? Or is it a distraction that is causing you to sabotage your own progress? Procrastination is often rooted in something completely different. It could be boredom. It could be the fact you don't even really want to do it. It could be that you are doubting your ability to do it. It could be that you find it difficult to focus, or you're looking for quick dopamine rather than the slow dopamine that comes through making progress. When I use the words habits, fears, distractions, what immediately comes to mind for you that you know is taking up too much space in your mind or in your time? And where are you saying something but not doing something? Numbing, delaying or doubting. What is it that's going on there? Are you in a time where you're actually not facing the stuff that's going on and you're doing things that numb you? Or you're delaying facing something that's just going to get bigger because you haven't faced it head on? Or where are you doubting something which is causing you to not give something a go because you just want to be sure? You're never going to be sure. So as you listen to those words, as you hear me talk about habits and fears, distractions, what is it that you know comes to mind that you can write down in your journal? Then we've got the forest, which is all about our values, the stuff that matters most to us, those unique deep parts of us, the roots of our personality, the roots of our experiences, our early story, our deep held beliefs about life, the things that guide our decision making on a kind of a gut visceral level. Those are your values. They are guiding principles that sometimes we don't live according to them, but they're there and they're present and they're a big part of who we are. And here's some reflections for you on this whole topic. Has your definition of a good life shifted recently? Who and what would be in your life if you were living from your values and not just urgency? If this summer gave you just one deep reconnection, what would you want it to be? What would be in your life if you lived from your values and not urgency? Gosh, what an unbelievably good question. And I think as I look at that, I think some meaningful daily connection with some of my loved ones would be increased. I think sometimes I'm so urgent and distracted that I'm here, I'm present, but I'm not present. And as I'm thinking about that, that is a compromise on my values. It's a compromise on what I think really, really matters. And then our final section of reflection is called the lighthouse, and that's all about what's next. I love helping people think about what's next. And in the book and on the course, we do loads of dreaming activities and mapping and planning and prioritising. And I'm just going to get you to think about it in a couple of questions today. What gentle next step is calling to you? If you see this season, if it's the summer when you're listening, or if you're listening to this as a back catalogue episode, if it's any other season, is the current threshold of your life, what is on the other side for you? By September, or you put in the month of your choice, what would you love to say you reclaimed or were getting ready to reclaim? You may not have a good idea of that, but I would encourage you to go with your gut with that. What is coming to mind when you think about that more than anything else? Don't caveat it or use your practical thinking or say all the reasons why that can't happen. Let yourself write down the thing that you really feel is your next step or on the threshold or something you want to reclaim. You know, when we take the time to reflect like this, we can start to pay attention to some of our inner thoughts, some of our deeper feelings that are there all the time, but we don't get to hear them because we're too busy writing an email or cooking the dinner. And when we stop and actually reflect for a bit, we can see it as a bit of a portal into what's next for us or what we need to do in order to bring about a change in our life. And I hope as you listen to these reflections, as you've paused, as you've written, it's create some space for you, not just to rest, but to have a bit of realignment with yourself. Maybe it's giving you more questions than answers. Maybe you need to come back to this. Maybe you need to slow it down and not rush what's beginning to emerge for you. Maybe you found it really hard because this is something you've not done before. But there might be a few key words or there might be a key conversation you need to have off the back of the reflections you've made. I hope as well it's given you a chance to reflect on all the progress you've made, the achievements you've had, the person you are. But I also hope it has disquietened you a little bit where you need to listen to those nudges and those moments of tension so that you can grow and make the change that you're looking for in your life. Enjoy